Sky Squad, we are back in the building. And of course, we got to discuss the latest episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. We are in season 4, episode 12. What you want to do about it? Okay, that's the title of the episode. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my rating right off the jump. Okay, I'm going to give this episode a 9.5. I feel like I want to give it a 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9.5 because I feel like I mean it gave me everything that I needed it to give, but I still feel like they tiptoeing and tap dancing and punani popping around whatever the issue is with Keke. And I wish that somebody would just either go ahead and say it because y'all keep on whistling Dixie around the subject. Okay, that's my biggest gripe with this episode is because I feel like they continuing to talk in code, and there was some tea that Keke was about to spill about Marsau that he was like dead set against. Okay, and I was just like, well, listen, for me, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I never want for anybody's marriage or anything like that to break up because I mean, even with scandal and stuff like that, I mean, I try not to even dive too much into it because personally, I would rather see these black people exist in happy marriages. But we do like a little bit of drama. You know what I'm saying? But for the life of me, if you're going to keep on talking about something and if something's going to be stirred up, you might as well give it to us because this is no better than that whole dark drama on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills where Crystal is alleging that Sutton has been saying something dark and we still don't know to this day what it is. Okay. And so for me, I feel like when I don't get that piece of information that I feel like we need in order to really be fulfilled with the episode, I feel like I can't give it the full 10. I got to take away a couple of points because we are missing some key information. Okay. Now, with that being said, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Let me know what your rating is down in the chatterization down below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and stage dive into the episode. Now, we're back at the family Ponderosa, and I have to shout out my friends over at OMFG Reality TV so I can grab these screenshots, baby. Because listen, it'd be hard to grab the screenshots these days. But anyway, I like a little visual when I do my little recaps and whatnot. So you guys can feel like you're still in the episode or whatever. Anyway, Keke arrives with her husband. Latisha speaks and tells her she looks pretty. Apparently, Keke had called her early and Latisha didn't return her phone call. And Latisha says, well, I ain't speaking to you no way. And so then Latisha tells her things have changed between them. And Latisha doesn't understand her and Melody, Keke and Melody's relationship and what she's saying about her behind her back. And she wants her to defend her when it comes to the people talking about her and she not there to defend herself. So Keke is like, well, she's upset that Marsau brought up her business with Melody and Martell. And Latisha then decides that she's going to bring this to the entire table. And so she announces to everybody that she is done with Keke. So then Keke brings up the issue that happened. Apparently, she told Latisha something. Latisha told Marsau, and then Marsau told Melody and Martell before Keke could arrive at their house or something like that, or something or other. I have a feeling I feel like I know what the issue is, and everybody is just being polite about not talking about it. But at this point in time, I feel like if you're talking about it every episode or every other episode, we might as well go ahead and lay the issue flat out on the table, okay? Because otherwise we are just kind of like in limbo trying to figure out what y'all are talking about, and we are trying to decipher all of these Da Vinci codes and whatnot. And I feel like just give me the tea, okay? Because whatever it is, it was in the past, and if y'all don't mind bringing it up continuously, then you might as well tell the audience what it is. But anyway, Bernard is still at the end of the table calling out Marsau, and they're going at it. Marsau is over Bernard, okay? So then the family asks how the issue keeps coming up, and Latisha and Keke go back and forth about who did what to who. Marsau then gets involved, and then Keke gets to cursing him out, and Keke and Latisha are going at it. I'm thinking that they going at it so tight, sitting beside each other. I'm like, they about to come to blows. So eventually, Miss Wanda has to come over and regulate, and she has to give a Maya Angelou speech about how the people already think that we from the wrong side of the tracks, and now y'all acting like y'all from the wrong side of the tracks. And I really want y'all just to talk one at a time if you're gonna talk and have this ponderosa. So Keke is still screaming about them spreading her business. Marsau is screaming that everybody already knew her business. I'm like, ooh, that was cold. Okay, Latisha is screaming about her having conversations with Melody about Marsau's alleged infidelity. And then we get into Latisha daring Keke to talk and air out whatever the business is. So as Keke is about to unleash whatever she knows about Marsau, cause Marsau, he get to screaming, do it, do it, do it, and I'll air this whole thing out and burn this whole thing down. I will air this whole thing out and burn the whole place down. I'm like, well, somebody tell me what's going on. Keke, what was you about to say, girl? Whisper it to me, okay? Whisper it to me. Send me an SOS signal. Give me something, because ultimately, like, you apparently got some type of tea, okay? And Marsau got some type of tea. And if y'all gonna come to this whole spontaneous combustion of, all of these feelings, everybody just spill the tea so we can know what's up. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I'm thinking that Keke's husband's about to come to his wife's defense, and instead he kind of, and I don't want to say meekly, but he kind of just points to Marsau and is like, if you'll do that to a woman, that's sad. And I guess he's trying to calm Marsau down and prevent Marsau from spilling the beans about whatever the situation was at the time that was going on with Keke, and he wants to keep it private. And so then Marsau gets up and kind of softens his tone, and he goes to talk to Amin, which is Keke's husband, and blames all of this on Melody pitting Keke against Latisha. Somehow all of this is Melody's fault. And I'm like, no, wait a minute now. Y'all gonna have to take some ownership of these issues as well yourself, because everything in this world that you got going on ain't because the hosts are trying to destroy y'all. Some of this stuff y'all gotta own yourselves, okay? Specifically, the issues with Keke and Latisha. It sounds to me like these issues have been going on since the two of them were younger, and their parents pitted them against each other in some type of interesting or weird or competition or whatnot. So these issues ain't just as a result of Melody coming in and pushing Keke's buttons and manipulating her and making her do things like that. No, it seems to me, based on what we've heard from Keke and Latisha, these issues started way back when. And so I think to cry wolf about this whole situation that Melody is, the master manipulator behind everything, I think it's just kind of a little bit of a cop out. And I feel like people have to take responsibility for the part that they play in the mess. Okay. So anyway, Keke doesn't feel like she's being manipulated by Melody, and Wanda ends up breaking it up and asking how the food is. Key things that I'm left with in this scene: what happened with Keke that Marsau went back and told Melody and Martell. I have an idea, and you guys have studied it before, but I feel like I want to know concretely. And then I feel like I want to know, Keke, what is it that you was about to air out about Marsau? Because listen, I'm just at this point in time, I wouldn't want to know, except it was brought up on camera. So for me, I feel like, listen, we in the story now, so you might as well go ahead and spill the beans, okay? But anyway, Kimmy ends up going to Destiny's to catch up, since they had, Jalen's housewoman. That's the last time she done seen her. She asked Destiny about the whole Stormy situation. Destiny really liked her, and they were getting to know each other. They were cool, and Destiny wants to know where she went wrong, and Kimmy wants to address the sweetie comment. Now, Kimmy felt like nobody was giving each other a measure of grace in that conversation, and then Destiny feels like with Stormy, reason and logic had gone out the window. She then talks about calling Stormy sweetie before and it not being a problem. And I'm like, honestly, Destiny, you got to actually really admit to something, that it's not always just about what you say, it's about how you say it. So the tone in which you were calling this woman sweetie and the way in which you are saying it in that context was condescending. And so when she clapped back at you, it was a natural clap back. And whether or not she wants to admit that she was being condescending, I feel like she has to know that that's how it came across. Anyway, Kimmy asked Destiny if maybe everything that she's going through is affecting her. And Destiny says, well, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe everything that I'm going through is really, is really just affecting me. The divorce, the friendship with Melody, falling on hard times and whatnot. And Kimmy is shocked that, Destiny feels like the relationship with Melody is over. And Destiny doesn't feel like she has anything that she can do about the situation, because she's not the one with the issue. She says that she is done and she doesn't have anything else to say. So Tiffany stops by the compound and surprises Lewis because he had been saying that she wasn't spending enough time with him. Now, she came to talk to him about why he did not ask her about her trip to Utah with Melody when she got back home. And I'm thinking to myself, like, for real, if the situation was that important to you, I would have assumed that you would not be waiting. I can't stand when somebody does that. Why didn't you ask me about this? Well, why didn't you just say what you was thinking and just tell me about it? Okay. Like, I mean, you the one who went on the trip. Why I gotta ask you how it went? Just come and tell me. You know I want to know. You actually, here's the thing that I don't like about this situation. He was supposed to go with her to Utah. She ended up switching him out for Melody. And so now you want him to ask these questions when you come home. No, you tell him how it went because you changed up the plans on him. He would have known how it went because he was supposed to go with you in the first place. Anyway, she ends up telling him what happened and about the possibility that her dad could have been lynched in 1987 and that she's going to continue her search. He asked how Melody was as a friend, and she talked about how Destiny told her that Melody had basically indicated that Tiffany was a work friend, but Lewis and Tiffany both agree that Melody has shown them that she's been a good friend. The next thing we get is with Martell. Hey, Martell, we ain't seen you in a minute. He's meeting with his manager about his wine event in the Atlanta. They want about 30 to 40 people to be there. They need a guest list. It's going to be all the guys. She wants to help him market the brand as very intimate and sexy or whatever. They also review him working with the tutor and how he's going to have to take the test in a couple of weeks. And she advises him to take the test as many times as he needs. But he is still going back to this whole thing about, being able to use somebody else's license in case the test don't work. And it's like, brother, if you don't take this test till you pass it and get to stepping, okay, like just take the test. Like we over this whole situation. Be a man, take the test, do what you got to do, and get your business up. Like we all want that for Martell, and I don't understand why he is so comfortable allowing somebody else to maintain the reins in his life with these types of endeavors. It just don't make no sense to me. It really don't. Mhm. Meanwhile, Marsau and Latisha are out for coffee. And they reflect on how everybody is out there doing their thing. And they recap Marsau not wanting to invest in the food truck because he needs to see them come to the table with a fully realized plan. He thinks that just because her family members think that they are loud, that means that they are strong. And that leads him into having an obligation, him talking about him having an obligation to tell the Holt about Keke. Again, we are getting this whole conversation about what happened with what was told to the Holt about Keke, and nobody is still saying what it was. We have an inkling that we know, but we need to know for certain, okay? Because otherwise, it's a huge plot point, and we are missing out on the plot point to really get a key understanding of why they had to say what they did and what it actually was and the impact that it might have had on Keke. That would actually further inform our understanding of how we view the situation, because then we can understand how each party might have felt in that situation and why they felt like they had to actually say something. Anyway, Latisha is, upset, and wondering, she wonders why, and she lets this go real quick. She wonders why Marsau got so out of character when Keke brought up Marsau at the Ponderosa, because I mean he was looking upset, okay? But she don't really stay on that topic for long, and it just leads to her realizing that Keke doesn't like her and how hurt she is by the whole situation. So Marcel tells her that it's okay to feel hurt and emotional. Latisha feels like she's just having to change her expectations of all of her friends right now. And Marcel is really upset with Bernard and calls him the male Wanda. Latisha says they come at Marcel because they feel like she doesn't come at him hard enough about the stuff that they see on social media. And she tells him that she would like serious answers from him when she asks serious questions. And he's like, okay, sure. But if you want to come to me about something, you need to be more picky about what you come to me with. He says he will give her direct answers. And I want you guys to remember in this episode, in episode 12 of season 4, he said he was going to start giving her direct answers, but don't ask him questions that are disrespectful. Now, ain't that some BS? Ain't that some cockamamie right there? Oh, who can determine what kind of questions are disrespectful or not? to me, I feel like if she has any question as your wife, she should be able to come and ask you without any stipulations on it, because you should have a mutual relationship where you guys feel free enough to ask each other whatever you want to ask each other in the relationship. It is, to me, he talks about this whole thing being a knock on his character when she has to come at him about these rumors that she be hearing about him in the streets. But the thing about it is, he doesn't really do much to stop these rumors. So she has to ask the questions because people are coming to her asking the questions. And I just feel like it's really disrespectful, more so to her, for him to continue to always put her in a position to where she has to defend him, or even is asked these types of questions. Because why would you even want your wife to experience any of that? Anyway, Melody meets up with Kimmy because Kimmy wants to, get her take on the Destiny situation to try to get them back on track. Melody learns Melody talks about going with Tiffany to Utah, and then Kimmy thought it was great that Melody came to check on Destiny during the Galentine's event when Destiny had gotten into it with Stormy and had to be taken to the back by security. Now, Kimmy feels like it spoke to the kind of relationship that they have, and she wonders if it's possible for them to get back on track. And she wants to know like what that moment meant for Melody. And Melody is just sitting there looking at her, smiling. Melody's just like, and Kimmy is like, well, what does that look mean? Why are you looking at me like that? I don't like the look. Okay. Melody feels like it doesn't speak to how I feel about her. It speaks to my character in general. Just like last year when Destiny and Tiffany was not getting along, she was like, I wanted them to get back on the right foot because they ain't really had no issues like that. And Melody lets her know that Destiny reached out to her after Galentine's and the conversation wasn't going well. So Melody told her, let's chat tomorrow. But Melody never actually heard back from Destiny. So Kimmy reminds Melody that Destiny doesn't have a big support system here in Huntsville. And Melody lets her know that she feels like Destiny likes to go through certain things alone, like signing those divorce papers. Okay. I told y'all last year, I said, for some reason, I felt like that whole situation with Destiny not necessarily wanting to talk about her divorce or tell her the specifics about when the papers were signed, which it seems like she probably would tell Melody because in her confessional, she makes it seem like they were going through their stuff together. So why would she not tell her that she had signed the papers? It is kind of weird now that I think back on it, but people are people and they just do what they do. Anyway, in Melody's confessional, she reflects on Destiny confronting her about not being part of her, about being part of her village last season during the season finale, during her video shoot, and she feels like she has been a part of Destiny's village. And in an ironic twist, they are eating at the broken egg, which is just about as broken as the friendship between Melody and Destiny. Okay. Meanwhile, the guys end up meeting at Black to load the Sprinter for the Atlanta boys trip. And Martell is happy that the ladies didn't have any issues letting their husbands go back to Atlanta. Marcel says, get ready because I'm about to act out and y'all can live through me. Marceau then tells Maurice he hopes that his fun doesn't involve any adultery. I'm like, y'all, it's too soon for y'all to be joking about any of this because listen, y'all, okay, okay. Martell is ready for some linebackers, some booty looking and licking and smacking, okay? And he lets them know he's renting out a mansion and intimate dinner at a strip club. And then Lewis wants to know what the last trip was like, and they reflect on how long ago that was. The last trip was, it was decades ago, but it was in 2015. It wasn't that long ago. Marceau thinks that he can be around other women and have self-control and that they won't have any incidents. And then they agree that what happens in Atlanta stays in Atlanta. And that is where we leave off on this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 4, episode 12. And it looks like episode 13 is all about the boys' trip to Atlanta. I don't think we're going to see any of the ladies. So next week should be rather interesting. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the chatterization down below. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.